Hello everyone and welcome to Verified Common Reviews. Today's movie review is Sea Fever is a movie that revolves around a young student named Sayoban, a very serious and focused marine biology student who wishes to spend all her time just studying and doing projects. She apparently is a social outcast or a very strong introvert, maybe even both, and prefers books and projects over people. Well, we all know someone like that in our lives, don't we? We see that with the help of a fishing crew, she gets a spot on a trawler that is about to go out into the sea, as it is an amazing chance for her to go out into the sea and learn more about the behavioral patterns in marine life, which of course is for her project. But things take a turn for the worse as soon as she enters the boat. She is considered to be a bad omen just because she is a redhead. Yup, she has red hair, and apparently in this movie, red means dead. Before even leaving the shore, they get a radio warning from the Coast Guard about an exclusion zone which happens to be the exact same catch zone that the skipper Gerard chose. Going to a place we are not supposed to be going? Classic horror bait. Even after hearing that, Skipper still takes it as just a warning, and they head for it without informing or discussing it with the crew, which is a totally stupid move, and it clearly foreshadows a future problem. By the way, this movie has so much foreshadowing, it just feels like the movie is writing itself as it goes on. Next, we are introduced to the entire crew of the boat. We see the boat water filter system that reuses the water and also makes clear water from salt water, and meet all the other remaining members of the crew like Johnny, Ciara, Omid, the engineer who built the filter system, and Sudi. They also explain what Sea Fever, the title of the movie, is. Basically, anyone who travels on the sea for a long amount of time gets super sick of it and starts losing their mind, and that's sea fever. Also, there is this one scene that I really like. It's when Freya, Skipper's wife, and Sayoban are just chilling on the deck of the boat, and they look over to some bioluminescent lights in the ocean, which are just basic bioluminescent facts for Sayoban as she is a marine biology student. But Freya tells her that there was this story, a fairy tale of a sacrifice to save a lover or something that led to this beautiful colors or lights in the ocean. Now, this is a massive foreshadow and a spoiler, and I hate how my brain just picked up instantly on this clue while watching the movie. So the next day, they reach the zone and start detecting something underwater. As soon as it starts picking up speed, they think that it could be a school of fishes. And while they are figuring out what it is, they suddenly collide into it and come to a stop, like a static stop in the middle of nowhere. While the skipper is busy figuring out what the hell it is, Omid, the engineer guy, the filter guy, is troubled and confused with breaches in the hull. These breaches are spots that ooze out a bluish green goop thing, which when poked reveal a weird creature that has latched onto the surface of the boat from the outside. Skipper thinks that it is just barnacles. Harmless, useless barnacles. So wrong. He allows Sayoban to go and examine it because she is a biology student and this experience could really be useful to her to learn something about marine life. She dives in only to find out that it is not just barnacles but a super huge alien-like creature with bioluminescent tentacles holding the boat from beneath. As she goes on to remove one of the tentacles, few tentacles pop out behind her with mouths and teeth that look like the plant monsters of the Little Shop of Horrors or the Mario games, whichever you prefer. And while researching into them, I found out some squids and octopi or octopus or octopuses also have that. Stuck in the middle of nowhere with no radio and communications, they try to figure out what to do next, and out of nowhere they see another trawler or a boat which apparently is also stuck just like them. So Johnny, Gerard, and Sayoban go on a search and rescue mission, which is more like searching others and rescuing themselves. But they only find the crew dead, with the whole ship empty, and the bodies were horribly slaughtered, stabbed, and killed. There is also one body with the eyes gouged out. To everyone's surprise, Gerard orders them to hide it from the remaining crew, saying that it is just a case of sea fever and hides it from everyone. They try again and again that the boat starts working, and after a few tries, it miraculously starts working. Well, because maybe the plot wanted it to work. A few hours later, Sayoban notices a change of behavior in Johnny as he starts acting all weird and wants to go for a swim. Well, that is not that weird, but going for a swim in the middle of the night, in the middle of the sea, on a speeding boat, I mean, I feel that maybe Johnny is losing his head a bit, at least. She checks him for fever, but also finds out that he is infected by something when she notices a movement in his eye, like an insect or something. This movie takes a really sharp turn from being Jaws to going to Lovecraftian horror to going to Ghost Ship and now just some invasion of body snatchers type theme. After a series of pain attacks and blindness, Johnny finally gives in when his eyes pops out a shower of blood and parasites, and then he dies. I guess he didn't see that coming. This gore sequence freaks out Sayoban, who notices parasites entering the water filter system and runs to warn Sudi, who is taking a bath, to be careful about the water, but it is too late and he is already infected. Well, thank you Sea Fever, you just gave me another reason to avoid showers. Sayoban, being the microbiologist on the boat, tries to find out what the hell is this bluish green goop thing. And she notices that there are parasitic creatures and it might have infected them all, not just Johnny and Sudi. To combat the situation, Sayoban devises a few plans with Omid to kill the parasites. The first one is to expose the goop to UV light. She feels that because they are hadopelagic creatures, they might be sensitive to UV lights, as they live in the bottom of the sea or the ocean, so they must be living in the hadal zone, which is deprived of the UV light. But they fail. They even try to electrocute the whole boat, which is clearly overkill, but surprisingly, and also to my surprise, it works and they get rid of the parasites on board. But there always has to be one buzzkill. So Sayoban requests them to quarantine themselves to further stop the spread, as she feels that they might have already been infected even before they killed the parasites on board. She even goes to lengths of stopping the boat turbines with a rope. So they are basically back into a complete halt, in the middle of nowhere. So the crew comes together, they talk, fight, debate, a few punches are thrown, and they come to a conclusion that they should check each other's eyes to see if they are infected. And it turns out that Skipper Gerard is the only one infected for now. To be honest, at this point, I seriously felt that this movie could take a turn and go into body horror and blame game like The Thing, but sadly, it did not do that. So devastated by the reveal, Gerard lets out a guilty confession of being the one to take them into the exclusion zone. Back in the other sleeping quarters where Sudi is resting, his fever is growing rapidly and Sudi gives in and dies in the presence of Ciara, who, because of all this, loses her mind, goes insane and tries to kill Sayoban. She runs after her, but while climbing the ladder, she falls down to her death, which is more like being kicked to death by Sayoban, but she falls and dies. And as she is lying down, a small creature flings out of her eyes, revealing that she was indeed infected, so her insanity and madness was the creature's doing, not hers. Freya and Skipper look at a picture of what I personally assume could be their daughter for one last time, and Freya mercy kills her husband as they think that there is no way out and death is the only option. She then leaves the boat to Omid and Siobhan and escapes all alone. They realize that they are the only ones left, and also that the parasite in the tank had grown and ripped through the hull, causing the boat to sink. So they decide to set the boat on fire to act like a beacon, because that's what you do, right? With a sinking boat. They make a run for it on an inflatable boat, which could have been a really good idea hours ago. But you only do things when plot demands it, right? While escaping, we get to know that Omid does not know how to swim, and he slips and falls right into the sea. So Sayoban jumps after him, but she gets infected by the monster's tentacles. They come back to the boat. Omid realizes that she is infected, and they both come to realization that this is it. They might not survive this. So in a heartfelt moment, Sayoban jumps back into the sea and sacrifices herself so that Omid can get a chance to escape. We see her getting closer to the creature. We see a boat, a rescue boat, that is traveling towards Omid, and the movie just ends. The end does not provide you a closure for questions like whether Freya survived, whether Omid was actually infected, whether Omid's infection infected others who were trying to rescue him. At this point, I thought that they could have gone to the Event Horizon type of ending. It could have also been a good sequel bait, but I think they did not have plans for a sequel, and I'm not really mad with the ending that they provided. And also, when Sayoban jumps into the sea, we see the same bioluminescent shine on the water, which kind of made me think, the one that we saw earlier, was that the shine of the same monster or the creature or whatever that is? Or did someone else sacrifice themselves for someone else, like the crew on the other boat? Well, the movie certainly did not meet my expectations, but somewhere down the line, it struck me that this movie is basically Corona on the ocean. Unknown parasites, symptoms, deaths, quarantine, everything matches up. Well, that's all for this movie. Thank you so much for watching the review. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like this video, share it, and comment down below if you have any thoughts or suggestions for this video or the next video. And also hit the subscribe button while you're at it to get future video updates.